I'm not doing any lens reviews today. I'm using this to film this DJI's Osmo Action 5 Pro camera. It features an all-new 1/1.3-inch sensor with a claimed 13.5 stops of dynamic range, 4 hours of battery life, and boasts the industry's first 4nm chip. I'll be testing it in various scenarios, including image quality, stabilization, underwater performance, vlogging, slow motion, hyperlapses, along with some technical analysis to establish a reference point for this category of camera, all in this in-depth review. The next-gen 1/1.3-inch sensor with up to 13.5 stops of dynamic range. Ultra-wide-angle lens with 155-degree field of view. Up to 4K 120 FPS in 16:9 and 4:3 aspect ratios. 4 hours of battery life. Dual OLED high brightness touch screens with up to 1000 nits of peak brightness. 47 GB of built-in storage, color temperature sensor, built-in pressure gauge, Wi-Fi 6 and USB 3 connectivity. I usually avoid action cameras because their image quality is compromised for compactness. They use small sensors and ultra-wide lenses, but their main benefit is being portable, making it easier to get shots that would be harder with bigger equipment. My first action camera was the Sony a800V, which I modified with a 90-degree lens and mounted on a Phantom 2 with a custom-designed gimbal. Then I used the Sony AZ1 with a handheld gimbal I designed, since none were available in 2016. After that, I used the Get Up F1, Q6 and the Xiaomi Action Cam, which I still use mainly for behind-the-scenes shots. I've been testing the DJI Action 5 Pro Adventure combo for a review recently. It shoots up to 4K at 120 FPS in both 16:9 and 4:3 aspect ratios. Its 1/1.3-inch sensor and 4nm chip capture crazy ultra-wide 155-degree images, which are then straightened out into distortion-free high-quality visuals. Let's delve into it and explore this in detail for a thorough review. As you power on the camera, it will prompt you to activate it using the DJI Mimo app. It's a dedicated app for DJI handheld devices. After activation, it may also ask for a firmware update. The Mimo app allows you to monitor and control various camera functions. The camera offers 6 shooting modes: photo, video, SuperNight, subject tracking, slow motion and time-lapse. The user interface is intuitive and easy to navigate. The side menu includes control for exposure, color profile and white balance, while the bottom menu lets you adjust the resolution, frame rates and lens types. Swiping down from top brings up camera setup menu. I won't be covering all the settings in this video. The camera has a built-in wireless mic receiver, allowing you to pair and control 2 DJI wireless microphone transmitters directly. I'll be skipping the audio chapter since I don't own any DJI mic and none came with the Adventure combo. Additional settings include options for depth and altitude display, always-on display styles, built-in microphone, Wi-Fi frequency, time code sync and more. Swiping to the next page shows storage status and control. For this review, I have been entirely relying on the internal storage. You can expand it up to 1 TB by inserting an SD card. Let's start with video mode. You can select various aspect ratios, resolutions and frame rates up to 120 FPS at most resolutions and 240 FPS at 1080p. Lens options range from ultra-wide to standard. For stabilization, you have Rocksteady, Rocksteady Plus and horizon balancing, which keeps the horizon level up to 45 degrees. Lowering the resolution below 4K unlocks the horizon steady mode, offering 360-degree horizon leveling. Here's a summary of the camera's video specs. The camera supports HEVC encoding at 10-bit and a max bitrate of 120 Mbps. The following is an all-purpose video test in rapidly changing lighting conditions, examining bitrate, auto exposure, white balance, noise performance, and electronic image stabilization. So let's analyze. Transition fine from bright scene here. Here the exposure metering got panicked and flickered. Classic EIS jittering here as it goes too low on shutter speed. Not too shabby here. Now this is challenging one for any camera. The color profiles offered are normal in 8-bit or 10-bit, HLG 10-bit, and the flattest option D-Log-M 10-bit. Although pool season was over, I found one that was still open. I gave the camera to these two guys to test, focusing on image quality and depth sensor, which activates automatically below 1 meter. push it further, I threw it into deepest part of the pool to get a further reading. Vlogging is not my forte, so take this vlogging test for what it's worth. The Osmo Action 5 Pro is the first in its series to include subject tracking, with both vertical and horizontal options. In vlogging scenarios where tracking is particularly valuable, it performs exceptionally well, staying locked on subjects even when they move out of frame or when objects pass in front of them. Next up is SuperNight mode. It slows down the shutter speed and cranks the gain or ISO all the way up to 51,200 and goes hard on noise reduction, killing details. You will notice this if you are watching on a PC monitor or large screen. Furthermore, the slow shutter speed induces EIS jittering. However, most viewers on social media watching on phone probably won't notice these flaws. I would rather stick to normal video mode and set the shutter speed to 4 times the frame rate to give EIS enough sharp frames to work with, while limiting the ISO to 3200. So for 30 FPS, a shutter speed of 1/100 or 1/120 and ISO 3200 is the sweet spot to avoid EIS jittering and loss of detail from noise reduction. In this mode, you can go as low as 8x or 250 FPS, but this is only possible at 1080p resolution. At other resolutions, it supports up to 4x or 120 FPS. This camera takes up to 40 megapixel photos. The images are sharp in the center but soft in the corners, showing noticeable lens flaws due to the ultra-wide lens and in-camera geometric corrections. Since it's not a full-frame or APS-C camera, don't expect miracles, especially in low-light conditions. However, for static subjects, you can keep the ISO low and use a slow shutter speed to achieve decent results. One thing I noticed is that auto exposure is likely tuned for action, which means it retains high shutter speeds even in good lighting conditions, resulting in higher ISO settings. Therefore, it's probably better to set the exposure manually when shooting static subjects or time lapses. The last item is time lapses. You can switch between time-lapse and hyperlapse in this menu. For time-lapse, you can choose from preset scenes like sunset or cloud, or you can go fully manual. For hyperlapses, you can select the rate. And I have found that the rate of X15 is the sweet spot, as it minimizes foot movement. The letter O of Action 5 has a hidden color temperature sensor. aids in precise white balance calculations. DJI claims a 4-hour battery life at 1080p 24 fps with rock steady on and Wi-Fi off, which isn't typical for most users. Let's test it realistically at 4K 60 fps to see the actual runtime. "117 minutes and 55 seconds at 4K 60 fps. That was the runtime before it shut itself down. Not bad at all, and more importantly, there were no overheating warnings. Even if the battery runs out, quick charging is available through the camera and the Osmo Action multifunctional battery case too, which accommodates up to 3 batteries and charges them simultaneously. When tested with a 65-watt power delivery charger, it reached up to 28 watts. The DJI Action 5 Pro combines great image quality, dynamic range and stabilization in a compact design. With its newly designed 1/1.3-inch sensor, 4K 120 fps capability, advanced stabilization, bright dual OLED screens and efficient 4nm chip, captures stunning footage for its class, along with effortless time lapses. Whether you are an adventurer or filmmaker, this action camera delivers strong performance. It's an excellent option for anyone seeking a reliable action camera with premium features. The software has been impressively stable, as I didn't experience any glitches throughout my testing while preparing this review.